We're now ready for part 3, the final part of chapter 30, as Teresa has been bound up by these rawhide ropes, which she was able to cut with her little curandera knife once there was a distraction that was staged by someone, or a couple of someones, right in the middle of the Serrohe village in the night. However, she wasn't able to escape yet, so she bided her time, and now it is evening, and she is finally dropped off to sleep when suddenly there's a cry of invaders by the Serrohes. Let's continue now. Part 3, Chapter 30. Over and over the alarms filled the pre-dawn air as confusion and dimly lit lanterns began moving in the narrow winding passageways of the village. The guards stood their ground, but couldn't help looking towards the voices of the watch guards along the trail up the Il Serrohe cliffs. As if in a dream, Teresa deftly unwound the rawhide. She looked about nervously, still achy and groggy from sleep. No one was watching. Pulling off the last bit, she stuffed the rawhide coils under her feet. Then came shouts of a different note. Noman calls, "Hey, hey, hey!" At that, the guards abandoned their posts and surged through the passageway. Other Serrohes swarmed around the cages on their way to meet the invaders as Teresa opened the door of her cage, preparing to dash down a vacant passageway. No one noticed she was out of the cage, but she quickly stepped back inside and waited for the last surge of Serrohes to leave the plaza. Once they were out, Teresa ran to aid her fellow captives. With lightning-fast strokes, she cut the cords of their cages. They all escaped down a passage opposite the direction of the Serrohe surge. Once away from the village, they realized the open plains of the west lie ahead. But could they find another way around the cliffs and down to the valley from here? One of them whispered hoarsely, "There's no known way off this mesa except the way we came. We are still prisoners." At that point, a sibilant voice cut in from overhead. "Follow one who knows the ways of the Serrohes they could never imagine." "The bat!" several voices cried. Teresa looked up. She saw a black shape, nearly the size of a man, but with a wingspan of 8 feet. It hovered over them, accompanied by the soft slap of leather wings that caused downdrafts of warm air. Whap, whap, whap. "What is it?" she asked. "Large bats live in the swamps of the river. They don't associate much with the people of the valley, but they can be trusted. If anyone knows a way off the mesa, they will. They fly all over the area at night, not needing the light of the sun to see, but—" "No time for questions, woman," the sibilant voice scolded. "You're dead anyway, so take a chance and follow me. Maybe you'll live. The people of the valley know they can trust one like me. Come!" Nudging her along, the people pushed Teresa forward, trying to keep up with the dark shape leading them from above. They came to a thicket of willow bushes edging a pond created by a stream that used to spill over the mesa's western rim before the Serrohes had dammed it up, supplying their water. Teresa marveled. A stream? And a pond up here? The bat shape alighted next to Teresa. It was about the height of a 12-year-old boy, but much slender. And in the twilight, Teresa could only make out a face, framed by furry jowls that topped by huge, pointed ears. It looked up at her. "It comes from a spring originating deep in a cave in the center of this mesa," the bat explained. "Without it, the Serrohes could not survive up here as they do. The old dry stream bed plunging down the cliffs a short way to the east. That can be your way out." "A waterfall?" "It wasn't quite a waterfall, but it is steep and tricky. It can't be seen from the floor of the plains below because the old stream went back into a cavern near the bottom of the cliffs, not onto the western plains. Trust me, it's there." "Come on," one of her companions urged. "We don't know how much time we have." Extending its wings out in front of Teresa, the bat rose above them, causing her hair and dress to whirl about in its wake. He rose, hovering above the group, and guided him southeast, then downward. It was like racing down a winding staircase that was missing steps in several places. Not paying attention could cause one to tumble to the bottom. Jumping and swinging each other along by hand while suffering cuts and scrapes on arms, hands, legs, The group clawed its way down, finally reaching the floor of the plains by the gray of dawn. In that light, Teresa could clearly see the bat. His face was human-like, except for the fur, and he had long, thin fangs instead of teeth. Teresa called out, "Who are you?" "I am called Night Echo by the clanspeople." A gnomon standing near Teresa explained, "He is the youngest son of the chief of bats." Without landing, Night Echo said farewell and glided off to the north, staying in the shadows of the cliffs as much as possible. The group went about the shorter way to the south, and then east into the Valle Bajo. Teresa was very tired, but she managed to keep up. On their return to the Valle, they learned the invasion was nothing more than a handful of brave but noisy gnomon who had come halfway up the trail before escaping back down to the Valle. The Sorai system of communication was so effective in quickly getting the word to the village above that the Sorais confronted only their own watch guards as they raced down from their lookouts in defense of the village. The gnomon were good at yelling up the narrow trail, whose walls echoed their voices right up to the very edge of the village. Of course, Pia and Pita had been able to slip up to the village and stage their fight decked out in furs, otherwise naked as the day they were born. Thus the guards could not recognize him as curanderas of Peralta. Teresa looked carefully at her sisters. Yes, they were very graceful in a way that reminded her of something that she couldn't quite put her finger on, even here in their own world. Without their full black dresses, they could trick the eye in moonlight. Well, while the escape had been successful, the problem of the drowning plague had not yet been solved. On top of that, the Sorais were on the warpath after suffering such an affront as a faked invasion and the impossible escape of Teresa and the other captives. Well, at the end of chapter 30 at last, we'll be continuing next time with chapter 31, a more normal length one, at least normal as far as this story's been concerned. So, hope to see you the next time. Bye.